Hi everybody, Dan Illman and Mike Beer. We are kicking off the Aqueduct Spring Meet with graded stakes action as the featured race number 8. It's the Grade 3 Distaff Handicap. We're going 7 furlongs for fillies and mares. You can play the race and the opening day of the Spring Aqueduct Meet with a DRF Bets account. Deposit $50, bet with $200. Learn more at bets.drf.com. Let's meet the field. Trainer Linda Rice has a third of this field, but I do want to begin with the number 5, Come Dancing, Mike. When last seen, this mare ran a huge race in the Grade 3 Go for Wand, earning a triple-digit Beyer speed figure and only falling a neck shy to Marley's Freedom, one of the top one-turn filly and mare runners in all of 2018. This layoff somewhat of a concern, but we're expecting a little bit of precipitation on Friday, and this horse handles a wet track just fine. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the good news is if we do get the expected rain, that it feels like most of the horses in this field won't be badly compromised by it. That certainly goes for Come Dancing, who seems fine over a wet track. I liked her Go for Wand, Dan. I thought she ran well in that race. Obviously, Marley's Freedom is pretty good on her best day. And the other thing that I think you really like about her is not only does she have tactical speed, which will really play in this race, I don't think you really have to worry about layoffs with her. She won on debut. She won off a 13-month layoff in her second career start. She won off a layoff at Saratoga last summer. She ran really well in all of those races. So it feels like she is one of those, an older horse now who runs really well fresh. The number 9 is Dawn the Destroyer, and she's back at her 7 furlong distance. She seems to do very well here, and I thought she ran okay last time out in the Grade 3 Barbara Fritchie. That late night powwow just seems to be a win machine in the Mid-Atlantic area, and one of the runners she finished ahead of, the 4th place finisher, came right back to win an allowance race at Parks with a 92 Beyer speed figure. Now, Dawn the Destroyer draws a nice outside post position. She may need a little bit of pace help up front. Yeah, she's going to need at least some pace up front because she wants to race from off the pace. I think there's enough speed in here to set up her run well. I really liked her win off that layoff in November, Dan. I mean, I was really impressed with that performance. I thought she backed it up well in the Interborough when she closed down that field relatively easily. I'll give her a little excuse for the Fritchie just because she was just always down on the inside and never really could get clear to the outside to run in that race. I think it might have compromised her. She's drawn outside, obviously, in this race. That shouldn't be a problem for her. I wound up going a different direction for my top pick, but I want to use this horse. I really like the way that she's come back in her last 3 races. Let's take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector for the Grade 3 Distaff Handicap. We're expecting the number 6, Yorkie Poo Princess, to make the lead, and she certainly has the speed to make the lead. Last time out, they took her back off the pace, and I thought she ended up in a really great spot. There were 3 horses going at it tooth and nail for the lead. Yorkie Poo Princess was sitting back and forth with the jockey repellent on. She came with her run, but she was just outkicked by the last run from Start from Silver. What bothers me about Yorkie Poo Princess in this race is the 7. I think she's better at 6 furlongs, and in her last 2 races, her lead changes have just been either non-existent or very, very late. She just doesn't seem as comfortable as she was when she won the Autumn Days and was second in the Garland of Roses. Yeah, I can't argue with any of that. I thought she ran fine last time, but as you point out, she got a really good trip in that race, and there really wasn't a big excuse for her not to win that day. I do personally believe, and I know the trip worked out for her last time, I personally believe she's a better horse when she can make the lead. So to me, they should be sending her and trying to make the front in this race. We'll see if they wind up doing that because she ran so well from a tracking position last time, they might decide to try that again. Another horse that is going to be trying the 7 furlongs is one of the Linda Rice trained runners, the number 4, Start with Silver, who scored last time out from off the pace in the Correction Stakes going 6. This is a mare that loves life at Aqueduct, 5 for 7 lifetime here. But does it concern you that Linda has been reluctant to run this horse longer than 6 for most of her career? Yeah, it does. I'm really not sure that I feel like this extra furlong in this race helps her at all. She has a really strong closing kick when she's in good form, when she gets the right kind of setup. So maybe it just won't matter at all. But I'm a little worried about her going 7 furlongs against these kinds of horses. Pacific Ale, the number 8, ran a much better than expected second at 44-1 behind a nice filly in Dream Pauline. 2 starts back over a wet track at Gulfstream, and last time out just seemed a little bit flat. I wonder if she was a little bit too aggressively ridden in the early portion of the race, and if she's slightly better from off the pace, but she really only has that 1 race on her page fast enough to contend. Yeah, she's multiple graded stakes placed, but it does feel like she might be a little slow for a field like this one.
She's a real hard-trying horse. If she gets the right kind of trip, she will try and get involved in this thing in the stretch. I feel like this race might be a little too tough for her, though.
You liked Split Time last time out in the Heavenly Prize, and I thought she ran great. Divine Miss Gray, the favored winner of that race, really just held a class edge over that field, and she got away with an easy early lead. Split Time came at Divine Miss Gray, tried hard all the way down to the wire. It was a really nice start to her season. Linda says she's kind of questionable for this race. There's something else coming up in a week or so, but I was looking up some formulator facts, and over the past 5 years, Linda 4 and up, second off the layoff, route to sprint on dirt, 36% winners, a 270 ROI. And you'll note that last year's winner of the Distaff ran second in the Heavenly Prize and was cutting back in distance. Split Time, another one, though, that needs a little pace at 7.
Yeah, she will need a little bit of pace and maybe a trip from down on the rail, but there's just nothing to knock about her recent form. She's just been running one good race after another. I'm with you. I thought she ran great last time. It was compromised by the way that race set up. And I do think she can contend in this race. I went a different way with one of Linda's other horses in this race, but this horse is going to be a contender in here.
Before we get to our top selections, we'll talk about the longest shot on the board, Rosie Jersey, unseen since the Empire Distaff, where she was basically eased. Her prior race at Finger Lakes around 2 turns is good. Listen, she's made her money at Mahoning Valley and Mountaineer and Finger Lakes, and she has to prove that she fits with these from a class standpoint.
Yeah, right. When they shipped her in for that first New York start and the Empire Distaff last time, she was absolutely nowhere, and this is a much tougher spot than that one.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 3 Distaff Handicap. I think the 7, Catherine the Wise, trips out here. She scored last time out in very impressive fashion in the La Verdad against fellow New York breds going 7 furlongs. I mean, Speed seemed to do well that day. Inside Paths might have done well that day at Aqueduct, but she just destroyed that field. It was unfortunate that she came out of that race, according to our colleague Dave Grenning, with an injured foot, and she's lost a little bit of training time. But Chad Brown over the past 5 years, with last out winning older horses coming off 2 to 4 month layoffs in dirt sprint, 40% winners, 254 ROI, and she's either going to sit second just a Fiorchi Poo Princess, or she's just going to go right to the front. She's 3 for 3 on a wet track.
Yeah, I mean, all those things are true. I think she can get a good trip in this race. And listen, I liked her last race as much as everybody else did. She was really impressive winning it. That wasn't the greatest field in the world, but it's not like that race came out of nowhere. Dan, she was cut out to be a good horse. You have to always be concerned when you're talking about a 6-year-old mare with only 6 starts behind her. I guess the thing that maybe turned me off more than anything else with her is the race 2 starts back, where she just got absolutely loose on a pace that was not fast, and Dawn the Destroyer ran right over her in that race. So that makes me at least wonder a little bit if she's good enough to go with these horses, but if she can run something like she did last time, I suspect she'll be tough.
It's a fair point to be sure. Defeated in her only 2 prior starts against Open Company, once against Dawn the Destroyer, and once at 1 to 2, albeit off of a very long layoff against Pacific Gale. You're hoping that the 2 Holiday Disguise can win this race for the 2nd year in a row. Her most recent performance, I thought, was excellent. She did get a nice pace to run into that day, but Holiday Disguise has always just shown the ability of being a graded stakes type horse. She's a win machine that likes Aqueduct, likes a wet track, and this 7 furlongs, I think, is actually better for her than the Broadway at 6 last time.
Yeah, I like her at 7 furlongs too. I think that really helps her cause. She's going to need a little bit of pace in it. I mean, she's not a horse who gets badly compromised when the pace isn't there, because when she won this race last year, they didn't go a really fast pace in that race, and she was still able to run down Divine Miss Gray in that race. And I thought she ran really well that day. I think if you look at her recent races, it looks like Linda's other 2 horses might be a little better there. They've got faster figures. I think she's the best of Linda's 3 horses in this race. Her last race didn't come back fast, but it was a really impressive win off of a 2018 season finale where she did not run well. And I think you had to be concerned about her. She convinced me last time that she can still run, and if she gets any kind of trip in this race, I think she's going to be tough, but she's going to be a fair price.
I think the layoff was a boon because, like you, that Iroquois was really disappointing to me, and I think Linda realized this was a mare crying out for a layoff. She gave Holiday Disguise a layoff. She responded with that win over 2 next out winners, including Start for Silver, who's also in this race, and Linda over the past 4 years with horses aged 4 and up, last out winners off a 45 to 60 day layoff in dirt sprints. She only wins 29%. with a 252 ROI. 8 to 1 on the morning line, Mike. You'll take that every day of the week. Give me numbers.
Yeah, I'll take that for sure. I went 2-9, 1-5 in this race.
And I'm going to go 7-5, 6-1. I'm hoping Catherine the Wise gets the jump on this field, turning into the stretch. She does like a wet track. It'll be very interesting to see how Yorkie Poo Princess is ridden in the early portion of the Grade 3 Distaff. Speaking of the Distaff, speaking of the Aqueduct card, get involved with a DRF Bets account. Deposit 50, bet with 200. With DRF Bets, it's as easy as ready, set, bet. An approximate post time for the Grade 3 Distaff, 5:15 Eastern. Good luck.